Hi, my name is Emil.
Hi, my name is Raisu.
Hi, my name is Ethan.
Hi, my name is Roland.
Good day. Today, we're going to present our t-shirt design entitled Tingatangi with the tagline Philippine culture in its ideal proportions. We were tasked to create an original t-shirt design with a theme related to the ethnic groups in the Philippines. And since the Philippines are composed of many ethnic groups, and according to the National Commission on Indigenous People, or NICP, they acknowledge 110 ethnicities. As a result, the group opted to merge a design from each of the three islands of Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao into a single design.
As mentioned, we have integrated three designs coming from the three main islands of the Philippines. The first is from the province of Cotabato, Mindanao, the Tubao. The Tubao is the hand-woven bandana of the people of southern Philippines. Its varied designs and multiple uses represent the diversity of people as well as the intertwining of the lives on the earth. Its colors celebrate the power of the people in history. They who were once conquered but have triumphed, struggled and have overcome, who are poor in material wealth but are in rich knowledge and spirit, who barely seek new horizons and reach unknown shores. It is also a testimony to the endurance and ability of its weavers, the women. They who have the power to soothe, to heal, to empower, to change what is unjust.
Yellow, green, red, and blue are among the hues seen in Tubao. These colors have been utilized for the shirt. Color red as the primary color of the shirt. On both sides of the shirt, there's a color yellow accent, as well as in the hexagon shape containing the pagmamano symbol. Next is color green within the diamond form in the center of the shirt, as well as on the both sides. Lastly, there's color blue lining that is somehow hidden on both sides as well.
Now, let's look at the elements and symbols we've applied.
For the island of Luzon, we have chosen the weaving design that mostly practiced in the Cordilleras in the northern Philippines by the Ifugao tribes and other ethnic groups in Mindanao. There are three types of ikat weaving. There is warp ikat, weft ikat, and double ikat. The difference is whether it is the warp or weft yarns that are dyed to create the chosen pattern. In warp ikat, the weft yarns are all dyed a solid color and only the warp yarns are ikat dyed. This clearly shows the visible threads are wound on the loom and weaving in the weft threads, solidifying the color and completing the fabric formation. In weft ikat, it is the weft threads that are ikat dyed. This type of weaving is more difficult than warp ikat, as a pattern will be formed only as the weaving progresses. This means the weaver has to regularly center and readjust the yarns to ensure the pattern is formed correctly. Finally, the double ikat. It's the most complicated one out of the three. Double ikat is where both warp and weft threads are resist tied prior to weaving. This technique requires advanced skills and takes tremendous amount of time, hence is the most expensive.
From the three techniques, we use warp ikat as the inspiration for our design. Lastly, from the island of Visayas, Basay Samar, it is a place in the Philippines famous for its intricate design patterns for banig. The banig or mats measure around 2 by 3 meters and as thin as a chipboard. Banig is typically composed of tikog, a type of reed grass that grows in swampy areas near rice fields and has firm, jointless stems that are usually triangular in shape. We chose Banig because it reflects Filipino culture and identity. Moving on to the pagmamano icon, no other Asian, European, or even American culture uses mano or pagmamano as a symbol of respect. A person gives the greeting by bending down to the person or the elder, or by taking his or her hand and pressing it against the forehead. Because this sign is unusual and distinctive to Filipinos, the group intended to use it, showcasing that the Filipino culture is really tinatangi.
For the tagline, at the back of the shirt, the word tinatangi can be seen. The word tinatangi in English means special. The group emphasizes here that our culture, traditions, as well as our art are special and one of a kind in the world. This also highlights the tagline of our t-shirt, which is Philippine culture in its ideal proportion.
Philippine culture in its ideal proportions. Why the catchy tagline, you may ask? Well, we were inspired by multiple and vast arrays of the Philippine ethnic groups, from the three main islands of the country.
Tubao was an excellent pick, hailing from the land of Cotabato, Mindanao, Ikat from the region of Cordillera in the northern Luzon area, and last but not least is the Banig, coming in from Samar, Eastern Visayas. Three incredible locations and three fascinating items from three astonishing ethnic groups. Some say that 333 is the angel's number, indicates that despite your fears, anxieties, and mislaid plans or wrong turns, you're on the right path.
These textile arts are basic human activity that symbolically expresses much of what is essential in any culture.
Hence, these designs trace the development of textile tradition from its earliest beginnings, the primary materials and weaving instrument used, the distinctive qualities of Philippine textile such as recurrent pattern and design motifs, and the accompanying design procedures and techniques used. As a logical consequence, textiles are an important part of material culture. They can be considered as cultural symbols, work of art, or economic objects. So, proceeding to the relation of the design to the lesson, according to ISOC 2020, a pattern is an element or group of elements that is repeated throughout a piece of work or an associated set of works. It is a principle of art and the universe itself. Artists utilize pattern as a decorative element, a compositional method, or a whole work of art. Patterns, whether subtle or obvious, are versatile and effective as a tool for grabbing a viewer's attention. With conceptual tools like linear perspective, symmetry analysis, and symbols, mathematics has shown a direct influence on art. Now, let us examine the various mathematical elements incorporated into our t-shirt design.
For the overview, the pattern used in the designs were all wonderfully and cleverly picked, from the very undemanding and eye-catching golden ratio of the Fibonacci spiral and Maynard zigzag to the straightforward tiny fractal patterns, not to forget the symmetrical form of the striking logo on the middle. Furthermore, the fashionably placed tessellation pattern blends perfectly well with the rest of the elegant motifs.
So, these are the geometric patterns present on the t-shirt.
The spiral design or element used in our t-shirt is related to the golden ratio discussion, also known as golden section. Since golden ratio is mathematical ratio you can find almost anywhere like nature, architecture, painting, and music. Furthermore, because it has a spiral shape, this pattern can be applied in the Fibonacci sequence, which can be used to compute numbers similarly to the golden ratio. Patterns that are predictable are described by the golden ratio. Our subconscious mind is drawn to a sense of harmony created by the proportion, size, and positioning of one piece in relation to another.
This design also features meander symmetry. For the shirt, a meander is thought to represent a two-periodic motion of the spiral wave tip, with the tip flowing evenly along one circle while the center moves uniformly along another.
Moving on, we came up with the idea that this design is similar to fractal because of the pattern's never-ending nature. It was made by just repeating a basic process in a continuous feedback loop, with the exception that the pattern size will not change as the pattern's orientation will not change.
Tessellations is also used in this case. The shape is repeated over and over again to cover a plane without gaps or overlaps. The patterns were created with identical shapes which fit together with no gaps. Furthermore, symmetry means that one shape is identical to the other shape when it is moved, rotated, or flipped. If an object does not have symmetry, we say that the object is asymmetrical. The concept of symmetry is commonly found in geometry. This idea could be seen on the sides of the pagmamano icon as well as on the sleeves of the shirt.
The symmetry that has been used in this logo is bilateral symmetry, or frieze pattern. It can be horizontal or vertical reflection. Depends how would the viewer see it. The bilateral symmetry, when similar anatomical parts are arranged on the opposite sides of a median axis, only one plane can divide the individual into essential identical halves.
All frieze patterns have translation symmetry. Translation symmetries is two parallel directions that may be repeated as many times as necessary, backwards and forwards to obtain all potential translation symmetries.
To conclude everything that's stated, the designs that are used in the t-shirt is inspired by traditional Philippine patterns that are made throughout the history. We initially designed the cloth to match the color palette of earlier woven designs. Then, we made three distinct patterns on the shirt. Firstly, everything within the t-shirt is symmetrical, with the exception of the logo, which is the major emphasis and is in the middle.
Moving on, the basic line design were used on the sleeves to draw attention to the edge of the sleeves. Then, there are two patterns within the shirt, which is the outer one and the inner one, which are inspired by ikat. We use a frieze type pattern design that has golden ratio and uses 180-degree rotation symmetry to add more style into it. Moreover, the inner lines design is straightforward with the column boxes arranged in a zigzag pattern which represents the banig, which shows a tessellation pattern. Finally, here is the final look of our t-shirt design entitled Tinatangi with the tagline Philippine Culture in its Ideal Proportions. Thank you so much for listening. Stay safe always.